Hey, everyone. Welcome. I'm just gonna allow everyone into the Zoom room. You can comment where you're joining from. I'm also gonna start putting some oils on. Welcome, come on in. Need some clarity on my brain right now. Thank goodness for clarity. Oh, we are going to be talking all about hormones tonight. Those wonderful, beautiful things that we have, right? Take a minute or two, go get like something to drink. Make sure you have a notepad, a pen. All right, so we have a lot of new faces in here too. So I might ask you all too if you know certain people, because some names are unfamiliar with me. So Andrea Vincent. Anyone know Andrea? Sarah probably invited her. Maybe I'll ask her real quick. Oh, there's Sarah. Valor, Idaho Grand Fir. We're going to talk about Idaho Grand Fir when we talk about stress tonight. I've been using that one heavy. Come on in. Sarah Paul. Sarah Paul. There you are. Okay. Sarah Paul, do you know Andrea Vincent? Okay. Perfect. Is this going to be a full class tonight? I feel like this is a topic where we're all trying to discover ourselves. We're trying to figure ourselves out. It ebbs and flows. Our hormones sometimes they just don't stay the way we want them, right, Rachel? You're like, yeah. Throw kids in the mix and like if you have like girls, even boys too. I'm not a boy mom, but I was with some friends over the weekend or last 2 weekends ago. They have boys that are like the preteen boys. And I'm like, I do not know what I would do with boys because they go through changes too. So all of these things are relevant also to our men. They're relevant to our men, to our boys. We all have hormones. So just remember that. It's not just for our girls. It's not just for you. It's for your spouse, or any other guy in your life that lives with you that you can make those changes and help them. So we will get started in just a little bit. I'm probably just going to give it another minute as everyone's joining. So make sure you get something to drink. I'm sipping on, I just tried these Purity Organic sparkling juices. They're really good. My kids and I love sparkling stuff right now. I don't know. Hey, it gives us something to like make sure we're getting enough liquid, right? All right. Okay. So we are talking all about hormones tonight, and I have a PowerPoint presentation. My name is Sarah Stutzman. I am a certified holistic health coach, specifically just helping women make changes in their lives to live just a healthier life. Just to help you feel like you can breathe, that you can, go about your day knowing that you're making better choices, all right? And so it is a journey. And so my focus is really on women's hormones and helping you vibe and thrive with yourself, because how many of you, if you are still menstruating, that time of the month comes and you're like, I just want to lock myself in a room. I don't want to see anyone. I don't want to go anywhere. Like, I don't even like myself. So how can I be around other people, right? Other humans. And so I want to help you vibe and thrive with yourself, but then also with those around you too, to make this a more pleasant experience. And if you are going through the change in life too, I mean, that experience can be like, I just don't want to be around anyone right now. It can be exhausting. And so we're going to talk about all of that stuff. And as our girls change and they go through puberty, we want to vibe and thrive with them too, because their hormones, our hormones, it can be a very frustrating household. It can be a frustrating time. So we're going to talk about that. So I have a PowerPoint presentation to walk you through because it's a lot of information. If you're like, whoa, hold up, ask all the questions. I will go through and answer questions throughout the end of the evening. Sarah Paul is here. She is a really close friend of mine, and we do these classes on a Monday night. We alternate every other Monday. We might have guest speakers. We might have those in our community, in our oils community, sharing. So next, not Monday, because Monday is Labor Day. Next Tuesday night, we are having one of our members, Melinda Nyman, who she is a yoga instructor. She is going to be leading us through yoga, which is going to really connect with what we're teaching tonight. It's going to piggyback on what we're teaching tonight, because we're going to talk a little bit about stress and the implications of stress on our hormones. So join us next Tuesday. We'll have all that information for you in our Facebook group, in our Facebook event. If you're not in that event, you can message me for that link too, and I can set you up with that link. So Sarah and I are going to share our story, and then I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I'm going to do that right now. Okay, perfect. I'm not super tech savvy, so it just came up, and I'm like, yeah. Come on, slideshow. All right. So I really want you guys to focus on becoming in tune with yourself, listening to your check engine signals. Our car has a check engine signal, right? When something's not working, we have things on our dash that pop up that say, oh, I probably should make sure no one else is joining. I don't know if it'll pop up if I'm doing this, but backspace, backspace, go back, go back. How do I do this, Sarah? There we go. Okay, so our car has a check engine signal. When something's not right, you know, we get this signal. Our body does the same thing. And so it might be through our skin. It might be through, oh yes, awesome. Sorry, I'm just making sure people can get in here as I go about. So it might be through our skin, it might be through our digestive tract, we might have stomach issues, it might be through head tension. And so I want you to think about that. And I'm going to share some things with you. I'm going to share a list of, I'm going to share a list of symptoms with you, okay? So we're going to understand the body tonight. We're going to understand your endocrine system, okay? Primarily estrogen and progesterone. We're going to take a look at lifestyle, diet, stress, chemicals, and we're then going to learn some action steps to take back control over your body so you can vibe and thrive, right? First of all, I want you to know where you came from. How many of you are looking at these pictures and are like, yes, flash back, right? Know where you came from. This is this was where I came from. I'm a product of the 80s, 1981, right? I grew up in that most epic decade, okay? New Kids on the Block, all the processed foods. Kelly, you're like, yeah. And then we had, I mean, it wasn't quite Bath and Body Works then. That was like 90s, but it was 80s through 90s. But I remember the Avon samples. My grandma would bring me all those little tiny cute little lipstick samples. And I was like 6, 7, and I'm like smearing them on my lips, right? At that age.
Hey, Sarah?
Yeah.
Can you change the slide so that we can see that? I still see the in tune.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Ooh, okay. Let me try that again.
No problem. I apologize for interrupting.
Nope,
but
you're fine, because it's showing that it's sharing on my screen. Let's try it again. Thank you for letting me know that, Sarah.
Absolutely. And then this is just the main slide.
Hang on. Maybe it's let me try to connect to my Wi-Fi extender. Maybe that's
right hand side. You can even just manually change with the little arrow.
Well, right now it's still in my, hang on. Can you see this screen? The Intune, it's the very first one.
Yep.
Okay. Because it's not allowing me.
That was now it changed.
Here we go. How about if I do this? Can you see this? Your history. Yep. Okay, perfect. I wonder if it just, because I admitted some people and maybe it just altered it. So thank you for letting me know that. So yes, so all of those things that was like my gateway, right? And we all have that gateway of the products that we started using at a very young age. Whatever was in our home, right? Was brought into our home, we were allowed to use. We have to know where we started from, right? And so my story is that I grew up in the 80s and the 90s, and these are the things that I put on my body. I use Bath and Body Works. My mom did cook a lot of homemade meals, but she also worked. And so, nope, not letting you in. So she also worked. So, I mean, we were the product of the 80s and 90s. And so we did have processed food coming in and out of our house. We didn't know any better, okay? We used bleach. We used all those cleaners that were on the counter or on the shelves at, Walmart, at Kmart, at Hills, who remembers Hills? Like we used those and we didn't know any better. The education was not there. But guess what? It's here now, okay? And all of those things led to when I entered puberty, I remember having the most horrible cramps. I didn't know what childbirth was like, but now looking back, it was kind of like that. I was crying for my mom in the middle of the night as a 16-year-old, probably even before that, because I was in so much pain. I was popping ibuprofen. I knew exactly when my cycle would start. I would start taking ibuprofen to reduce the inflammation, and then I would have it tracked by the hour, knowing when I would have to take another one so that I wasn't in pain. Heating pads, and it was just excruciating. I would break out in rashes too, and the dermatologist told my mom, and my mom is in here listening to this, and she could probably vouch for it, but he said that these companies, the Bath and Body Works, the Victoria's Secret, all of these scented lotions are going to keep him in business. That we need to stop using those things if we want any of my rashes to get better. And so it was just a compounding effect of the chemicals that I was using, not knowing what was in my products, right? They were estrogen mimickers. And so what they did was they came in, which we're going to talk about this later on. They came in and they acted like estrogen in my body, and I was actually estrogen dominant. I didn't know that term until like just a couple years ago. And so no one told me that. And I just continued to pop ibuprofen, which was doing even more harm because ibuprofen and any of those over the counters, those NSAIDs, they deteriorate your gut lining and they create an imbalance in your gut, which then leads to more issues. As does any medication, birth control, any of that. So we're going to get to the root of the issue tonight, okay? So I want you to take a look at this screen here. Oops, trying to get. Okay, I want you to take a look at this screen. So here are some symptoms of some check engine signals. What is your body telling you? Maybe you have some of these, and this is just a little bit, right? This is just a little bit of those check engine signals. They can come in so many different ways because we are so diverse. We're so different. Not one person is the same. So maybe you suffer from really, really heavy periods, fatigue, headaches, mood swings, like extreme mood swings, weight gain, weight loss, no period at all. Some women do not even get their period. Restless sleep. You can go to sleep, but you can't stay asleep. Constipation, diarrhea, facial hair, painful periods, heart palpitations, hot flashes, hair loss. Those are just some of the things. And so make some connections right now. Are you having any of these? These are your body's check engine signals, okay? So I shared a little bit about my story, right? These were some of the things that I was having. I was having those really, really painful periods, okay, where I would almost pass out. Later on, mood swings. I didn't even put on here, tender breasts. Pain during ovulation where you could feel, like you can feel when you're ovulating. So those were some of mine. And I had to be really in tune with what was happening, right? And the more that I learned, the more I started to kind of change things in my life, which I'm going to get into in a little bit of what those changes were. But Sarah Paul has an incredible story too. And these stories aren't easy. They're not happy stories, right? But there are stories that we can share with you so that you can make the connections of maybe this is what is happening in my body that I can change. That's why we share. So Sarah, would you mind sharing your story of the hormones that and the things that you went through?
Yeah, absolutely. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay. Sarah, can you change the slides manually? For some reason, I think it changes one slide and then it gets stuck. So perhaps if you go over to the sliding bar on the side and just kind of, or hit the arrow down.
Can you see that? It's like the endocrine system? No?
We still see the understanding the body slide.
Okay.
And
let me stop sharing real quick.
No problem.
This is Denise. Someone's trying to get in named Karabi. If you could let her in, please.
Do you know that person?
Yeah, she's
okay.
fine.
Okay. Thank
All
you.
right. While you're working on that, Sarah, I will tell a little bit of my story. Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining us. And thank you for inviting me, Sarah Stutzman. I appreciate you so much. And I have learned so much from you. So I'm just really excited to be here. And I'm excited to share a little bit of my story. I started sharing it more recently because I felt called to share it because I spoke to a lot of women behind closed doors. And I started sharing more publicly about it just because I had no idea how many other women were going through something similar to what I was going through and what I went through. Yeah, so I will share a little bit about me. So I am a wellness educator. I'll start with some factual things and I'll get emotional. I'm a wellness educator. I am 36 years old, just to give you a frame of reference too. And so I I grew up doing all the things as well. I think some of my good girlfriends are on here who will probably get a giggle, but we were into like really, really into sparkly body lotion, if that tells you anything. And we were into lots of signature scents. Like I was a Bath and Body Works aholic. I think all of my girlfriends and I were, and my scent was Juniper Breeze. So I always smelled like that all the time. I would spray my entire head with it. I would bathe in it. I would lotion up. I would, like I say, then put sparkly lotion on top of it for, I don't know why that is a thing. Sorry if any of you are still wearing that, but I wouldn't put sparkles on my body now, knowing what I've learned along this journey. So, yeah, some things that have kind of gone there on my journey, as we also layered on lots and lots of free tester makeup. When we would go to the Fairgrounds Mall, we would take a bus out, or we would walk out together, and we would layer on lots of brown lipstick, lots of all sorts of eye makeup, lots of all sorts of everything, because we would go out of the house looking one way and then come home looking completely differently. But that's beyond lots of different things. So fast forward a while, well, no, same time period, I was put on birth control to regulate my period. And now just thinking about it, I was thinking about it in this moment. Wow, like why not take a look and see why young girls' periods or cycles are irregular, rather than just automatically giving them birth control and then having them be on it for, oh, I don't know, I was on it for like 20 years straight without a break at all. And then I got off of birth control when I got married. I decided that I wanted to try to conceive. And then I got off of birth control, and it was rough. Like it was very, very rough for me emotionally. It was very rough for me cycle-wise. It was extremely rough for me trying to regulate things, trying to feel out all of that, because all that I had known about a cycle was from my mom, was even from my grandmom, was that when you got your period, you laid on the sofa with a heating pad on. Like no one should talk to that woman who was laying on the sofa at the time unless he wanted to kind of feel the wrath. And it was debilitating. It was debilitating. Like it was awful. So I was trying to navigate things naturally at that point, because when I tried to get pregnant, I wasn't getting pregnant. And I'm like, I don't understand. Like, why is this so difficult for me? And I was teaching at the time, and I was seeing lots of people with lots and lots of children and not having any issues at all. And then I was able to get pregnant, and I had a miscarriage. And then I was able to get pregnant again, and I had another miscarriage. And then I was able to get pregnant again, and then I had another miscarriage. And at that point, I was just a mess. It was a mess. I had been looking into things dietary-wise for quite some time. I exercised regularly. I thought that I was living a very healthy lifestyle. I had no idea that other things that I had been putting on my body, that I had been using in my home, had an accumulation effect on my hormones. Like that is factual. That's factual. I had no idea that that could have been contributing to why things were so irregular, to all of my symptoms. Oh my gosh, my breasts were so tender and so filled with lumps that I have had to have several mammograms. And this is like under the age of 30 that I would go, and thank God I did not have breast cancer or anything like that, but we had a lot of scares because of how lumpy my breasts were. So fast forward a little bit, and I went to my doctor. I asked him what was going on. I asked if anything could be contributing. I asked if anything that I could do would make a difference. And he said if I were to have a few more, quote, a few more miscarriages, then he would do testing for me. However, at that point, it was something that was just normal. And I looked at him and I'm like, I don't know about that, right? Like, I don't know. This doesn't feel normal. Like, it feels like there's a missing piece. So I'm not saying that anything that I did, like, I'm not blaming myself. I had no idea. But that was the moment that I remember going through finding like clean makeup. I remember going through and finding cleaners. I remember going through and really doing an overhaul. And this was before I even found Young Living at all. I was doing this piece by piece by piece by piece by piece by piece by piece, trying to find cleaner answers for things to use on my skin and in my home. And then I was able to get pregnant with my son, who is upstairs now, hopefully asleep, and he'll be 5. So I don't know. I just feel as though, this is something that so many women in my age range have gone through or are going through at this point in time. I get calls about it often. I get text messages about it frequently. And I just feel as though it's something that by sharing my story, I hope to help others, and I hope to just give others hope, and just a little bit of education that those things can have an impact on your health. And they may say, that those ingredients in a little bit do not harm you. However, they are taking that in isolation with you using that one thing that one time. And when you really think about how many products women use as a whole, I remember, like, I have been slathering myself in glitter lotion since, like, whatever year that was, since I was 13, every single day, all the time, that it does make a difference. It does make a difference on your health and on your wellness. So by finding cleaner products, by finding a supportive community, I have really just, I was able to do a lot. I'm able to have my son that I do have now, and help other women as well. So that is my story. And my breasts are no longer lumpy. My period is completely textbook, like, it is normal, of which I never thought I would have a normal period in my life, because my mom's wasn't, because my sisters weren't, because my grandma's wasn't. Okay. That was just, you're not gonna, because we don't, so you're not. Okay. But that, I feel like that's just not, that doesn't have to be the truth. Like, that doesn't have to be all, like, our generation's truth. Because I talk to so many women, who have struggled. So there you go. There's my story. And, feel free to reach out to me at all if my story resonates with you, or if I can help to just help you in any way, even just be a listening ear to you. So thanks, Sarah, for letting me share.
Thank you for sharing and being vulnerable with sharing that, because I think it needs to be talked about. It's not easy to talk about. We think that these are normal, right? And the doctors make us feel that it is normal, right? Sarah, like 3 miscarriages, and he just said this is, this is normal. And in a roundabout way, he said this is normal. And this is what we see women having to go through. The women in our age, and even younger too, women that want to start families. And that's why I'm really passionate about, and I will just continue to be shouting it from the rooftops. We need to be changing the generation for our children. And I'll probably start getting emotional, because I want, and I'm sure if you have grandchildren, you want to see them be able to have babies, right? It's just, it's this, we don't want to think about that. They're like little, but we want to help them thrive. We don't want them to go through what we're going through right now. And if you are an older woman that is going through, your hormones are changing and you're not getting your period anymore, you might be feeling a lot of the effects of the generational things that we were programmed to believe is okay and safe. The cleaners, the food, the lifestyle. And so you're seeing that play out now as your hormones are changing in a different way. So no matter where you're at in your journey, just know that you can start making changes. And so I'm going to continue changing these slides manually. Sarah, let me know if you can see. I just changed. Okay, perfect. So we're just going to do it not the very professional way. We're just going to do it this way. So this is your endocrine system. All right. These are your building blocks. Your endocrine system is it's your hormone system. They create your hormones. And did you know insulin is a hormone? It's one of your master hormones. You need that, and it's not like a a sex hormone, but it still controls a lot of your sex hormones too. So, so your pineal gland, your thyroid gland, your pituitary gland. A lot of times, your hormone production starts up in your brain. So I like to think of it as a pinball machine, right? Like it just goes boom, 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 boom down the ways. And so we need all of these things in place, healthy and thriving. And so when I say that some things can be endocrine disruptors, these are chemicals that can come in and disrupt this whole endocrine system, your pineal gland, your hypothalamus, your pituitary gland. And let me tell you what, ladies, guess what else disrupts your pituitary gland, right? Your pineal gland. Those things, all those glands in our brain, and I am really guilty for this phone, but that blue light and the Wi-Fi, the radiation from that can really affect our brain and those glands up in our brain. Thyroid gland, thymus, pancreas, adrenal glands, and ovaries. Those are what is part of your endocrine system, okay? And I am gifting for 2 live viewers tonight. I'm gifting the book that I've created, and it has all of this in there. If you are in our community, you have this book in, it's on the website, and if you're not sure where to find that, you can message me, but you have access to this. You can download this for free. So this is your building blocks right here. So when I say endocrine disruptor, this is what it disrupts, okay? Let's look at what a healthy cycle looks like. A healthy cycle occurs when your hormones are in balance, okay? So at the beginning of your cycle, you have more, oh my goodness, estrogen. You have more estrogen. And then the second half of your cycle, you need more progesterone. And that's because your estrogen really comes in and it helps create that healthy lining. It creates the lining that is going to keep that baby padded and protected if you were to get pregnant, okay? Progesterone then is needed that if you are pregnant, if you do become pregnant, that progesterone keeps that baby in there, okay? It's that hormone that is elevated during pregnancy, okay? But if you're not, if you did not conceive, everything kind of sloughs off and you start again. That's the roundabout way, right? Really simple terms. So some imbalances can be in today's world: low progesterone, high estrogen. The second one is more of a PCOS symptom: high estrogen, low progesterone, and high testosterone. And we're going to get into the reasons why in just a little bit. But then it can also be estrogen shifts due to menopause. So when you are going through menopause, there's 3 different types of estrogen, which we're gonna touch on. But you don't need a really heavy estrogen during menopause because you're not of childbearing age at that point. You don't need that heavy estrogen that is going to create that really thick lining. So your estrogen shifts. And so you might have this little imbalance during the time where you're changing those seasons in life, right? So these are primarily the imbalances that you might see. A lot of times, as you see, low progesterone, high estrogen, that is what you see a lot of because of the things that are in our modern lifestyle. The chemicals that are in our products that we think are safe, even in green cleaners, even in, the essential oil fragranced candles. Those essential oils most likely are synthetic essential oils that they can create in a lab that are then, again, they are endocrine disruptors. Food as well. So I'm getting ahead of myself, so I'm going to keep on going. So those are primarily some of the imbalances. So take a look here. And I often get women that, you know, that say, I can't lose any weight. I just keep gaining it here or here or here in my midsection, right? Well, that again is a check engine signal. Okay, so take a look at this graph here. Think about what resonates with you. And it could be a combination too of where you tend to gain weight, right? Where you tend to gain those extra, you know, pounds. Is it more in your midsection, like that lower abdomen section? That's high cortisol. Right above like your hip, your love handles, and in your back, that's high insulin. And again, you can have a combination of this. Your buttocks is like estrogen dominance in the hip leg area. Testosterone is up here in the shoulders, arm area. And then thyroid is where you have, you know, where your boobs can kind of go all the way around your back, right? And so take a look at that, because that right there is a check engine signal for you to know what's actually happening in your body, where that imbalance might be occurring. So I talked a little bit about the different types of estrogen. Okay. These are the different types of estrogen. Just so you know, estradiol is your strongest. That's what you have during your reproductive years. Estriol is what you have during pregnancy. So it's weaker than estradiol because you don't need a heavy estrogen. And then estrone is what just maintains your healthy uterine lining during menopause. It's still a heavy estrogen, but it's just a little bit weaker than what you have during your reproductive years, okay? And then you have xenoestrogens. This is huge. This is what is in all those things that line the Target shelves, your cleaners, your laundry soaps, your body products, even things you would buy on Amazon. These are the things that are chemicals that mimic real estrogen in our body, and it takes up space on our receptor sites, and we become what's called estrogen dominant then, because our own body is creating estrogen. But then we have this fake estrogen that comes in, and it's this heavy estrogen, and it takes up residence on those receptor sites. And so our body's going, whoa, we have a lot here. And then the liver becomes super overloaded because it's trying to detox and metabolize what we're actually not using, and it becomes overloaded. And sometimes it cannot detox. And then that estrogen gets thrown back into our bloodstream. And it's just this cycle. And so you might see thickening of the uterine lining, where it's like estrogen dominant induced, what's the word? What's that thickening? I'm losing my train of thought here. Endometriosis, right? Where it's really thick because nothing can slough off, right? It's just compounding. Fibroids, uterine fibroids, cysts on the ovaries, fibroids in the breasts, those like tender breasts that you get, and that spikes when you ovulate. Maybe you have it in your entire cycle, but a lot of times women will get it as soon as they ovulate. Their breasts are so sore that no one can come near them. And maybe this is resonating with you. But that is a symptom or a check engine signal of estrogen dominance. It's too much, right? You have those uterine cysts, you have the fibroids in your breasts, fibroids, uterine fibroids, and that can be taken care of with lifestyle, diet, products that you're bringing in your home. So here are some of the xenoestrogens. This is where we find them. Factory farmed animals that are fed soy and injected with growth hormones. That is why it's really, really important. And I'm going to share a lot with you tonight. So choose one thing that you want to change out. It's baby steps. One thing. And then start there and then add one more thing on. So factory farmed animals that are fed soy and injected with growth hormones, guess what? We're consuming that too. And so those growth hormones are going into us. That soy is going into us, and it's creating that estrogen dominance as well. Medications, birth control, antibiotics, NSAIDs. NSAIDs are like ibuprofen, Tylenol, those painkillers, over-the-counter painkillers. They impair how our body methylates estrogen. It deteriorates the epithelial lining in our digestive tract. So if you've ever heard of leaky gut, it just starts to deteriorate, and then food particles can get out, undigested food particles can get out, things that aren't supposed to be in our blood before the right timing. Creates those autoimmune conditions. It creates hormone issues. I mean, it can create a whole host of things. So all those medications also deplete our body of minerals and important vitamins that our body needs. We can't properly absorb and digest our food. So it's really important that we take a look at birth control and get to the root of the issue. Like Sarah said, she was put on birth control, and how many other girls are put on birth control because their hormones are out of balance. They don't get their period, or they get a heavy period. So the doctor's like, oh, we'll just put you on birth control, right? Instead of getting to the real root of the issue. So taking a look at that, soy. There for a while, back in the 90s and early 2000s, soy was touted as this miracle health food, right? Soy milk. Soy milk was fed to babies. Listen to this, babies fed soy formula get a dose of estrogen, the equivalent to 5 to 10 birth control pills a day. That is crazy. Soy is a very estrogenic plant. It's an estrogenic food. So broccoli is, cabbage is, cauliflower is, but soy is very estrogenic that our body cannot metabolize it. It is way too much for our body to metabolize. So soy is in a lot of food. So if you're going to start anywhere, please look at food. Soy is used as a lot of fillers, mayonnaise. It's in a lot of like granola bars, a lot of cereals. I mean, just flip over the box and look at the ingredients. Soy lecithin, it's a binder, it's a filler, it's a cheap filler for food. And so be mindful of soy in your product because it can be so estrogenic. And I see you all going, oh my goodness, right? This is mind blowing. Take a deep breath. Okay, take a deep breath. These are all things that I want you to be mindful of, right? Start with one thing. And then fragrances. We hear fragrances over and over again. Fragrances can have up to 3,000, I think it's changed now. I think it might be up to 5,000 endocrine disrupting chemicals. Even the green cleaning companies, they're so-called safe beauty products. They will contain over, again, I think it's up to 5,000 endocrine disruptors because they say something is natural or it's a natural fragrance and it's proprietary to the company, so they don't have to tell you what's in it. It's all these crazy grandfathered laws that were put into place. And so that's where we really just have to be an educated consumer and know what comes into our home. So fragrances, if we can get rid of fragrances in our home and use real essential oils that we know where they're from, we know what's pumping out of that diffuser, is really, really important. And that is why we have changed everything to Young Living, because there are so many essential oil companies out there now that you can just go and you can get them at your grocery store, but you don't know what's in them. Many times it's synthetic concoctions where they have only 5% of an essential oil in that bottle, right? And the rest is synthetically made because there is no regulation, none whatsoever. Same thing with what you get on the store shelf. We think it's safe, but there is absolutely no regulation, okay? So these are the things that I want you to be mindful of. Look at one of those areas and say, okay, I am going to work on this. and really clean this up in my home, in my life. Okay, baby steps. Okay. Okay. So xenoestrogens is one area that we have to think about as we are thinking about our hormones, right? Another one is stress. And I think these two can also go hand in hand, right? Because when we're stressed, we make quick decisions. We make quick decisions with our food, with the products we're bringing into our home, because our time is really limited. But stress impairs the adrenals, the immune system, and your thyroid function. Okay? And let me tell you a little bit about what stress can do. Stress actually, it's your fight-flight response. And our body is naturally made to have this fight-flight response because of situations. If we're in a stressful situation where, you know, our child is in danger, we need all the energy that we have to, like, you know, pick that car up or anything that's heavy. Like, you know, that mama bear feeling, like you could conquer the world. You'll do anything for your child. We need all that energy in our bloodstream, all that glucose, all that sugar to be able to do those really like Superman tasks, right? But if we're living in this fight flight all the time, when we are in stress, our body is not allowed to release it. It impairs our body's response to release insulin. So we have this constant glucose running through our blood. Our liver is releasing that glucose, right? Our adrenal glands are pumping out adrenaline or epinephrine, okay? Our cortisol levels are then through the roof, and we have that high cortisol. Flash back to that screen I showed you where cortisol, you know, sometimes like if you have that belly that you just like, it's like, I am doing all the things, I'm eating right, I'm exercising, but you have that belly that you cannot get rid of, right? That is cortisol. That's too much cortisol, okay? So that could be stress. So that is what stress does to our blood sugar, and not allowing insulin to work properly. So we really need to get our handle on the stress in our life. So maybe you're doing everything else right. You've switched all your products out to clean products, but stress is ruling your life. And that's why I say, okay, tune in next Tuesday night when Melinda is going to talk about, and she's going to lead us through yoga. And this is where I love to use my oils. When I am super stressed, I will grab Idaho Grand Fir. It used to be called Idaho Balsam Fir if you were like from Young Living, like back in the day. They just changed the name. This I take and I put it down. I will take a drop and I put it down the bridge of my nose so I can breathe. It helps reduce stress. It helps reduce cortisol levels. Breathe it in. I'll also do that aromatic breath. Sarah talks about that as well. So 3 deep breaths. 5 in, 5 hold, 5 out. When I just need a moment. I will grab oils that I know calm me down. So that is any of the fir oils. So like Idaho Grand Fir, Idaho Blue Spruce, Sacred Mountain, Valor. You have to know what calms you down. Maybe you love peace and calming, those more sweet aromas. Maybe it's stress away. Find something that calms you and use the aromatic breath and bring your cortisol levels down. Bring that adrenaline down, okay? And this is sometimes why if you're having some hard time sleeping at night, you can fall asleep, but you can't stay asleep. That's because cortisol and melatonin share the same receptor site. So if you are super stressed, cortisol is going to be on that receptor site, and it takes about 4 hours for it to metabolize and dissolve, and then melatonin can come in, right? So at nighttime, get a really good bedtime routine, making some tea, listening to some calming music, reading a book, putting your diffuser on with lavender and cedar wood or any of those calming oils that you love, that you're really drawn to. I know lavender and cedarwood is one of those things that I just have to have by my bedside, as well as frankincense. If I wake up in the middle of the night, I will grab those oils. I will put them on my forehead, back of my neck, just to help continue to produce that melatonin. Cedarwood is really good for that. Helps you fall back to sleep. So stress plays a very, I guess, important role, or not important, but you know, if we have it under control, your hormones will be thriving, right? Another thing to look at, and I did a whole, I'm not going to touch on this a whole lot, but I did a whole other class on this that you can find on YouTube, and I can actually put it in the Facebook event, but detoxing properly. Your liver and what we call the estrobolome, it's those microbes that help to metabolize estrogen, your gut microbes. If you're not detoxing, you know, if you're not going to the bathroom regularly, if you're not drinking enough water, if your liver is struggling, we need to make sure that all those elimination pathways are working properly. And that requires some supplements, which we're going to talk about a little bit later, making sure that you have the proper nutrients so that you can eliminate properly. So again, I'll put that whole liver detox class up. Sorry, getting messages. I'll put that liver detox class up because that goes into more depth here. So here are some principles that we have touched on. Principles for balanced hormones that I want you to think about as we go forward. Real nutrition. Seeking out farmers in your area that have grass-fed animals. Reducing the soy in your life. Reducing the toxins. Making sure you're resting, getting that good rest at night, and setting those that routine up. You know, a bedtime routine. We call that like a bedtime hygiene. So taking that time to turn off your phones and really get a good night's sleep. And then support, because our food isn't grown the way that it used to be. So we have to support our body through whole food supplements. And we can use oils as well, all right? Oils that have hormone properties in them, which is awesome. I feel like God gives us everything we need through plants, right? So how do we know if our hormones are off? This is something you can do. Test, don't guess. So you can always ask your practitioner to do a blood test. Saliva, blood test is first. I would say saliva would be a little bit better. Dutch test, it's a dry urine analysis test. It tests the metabolites in your urine. This is the gold standard in hormone testing. With saliva and urine, you will pay out of pocket. That's the thing. A lot of times when we want to get answers, we do have to pay out of pocket. We have to go outside the lines of the boundaries that have been drawn for us to get answers. Blood is good. It just only shows a portion of your cycle. It doesn't show your entire cycle and your hormones throughout your entire cycle. So saliva and urine would be good. You can go to, I mean, you can get these online. You can go to, I think it's Dutch.com, and you can order it yourself. You would just have to make sure you have a practitioner, like a naturopathic practitioner or a holistic practitioner in your area that would be able to read it for you. I do know of a few that I can put in our Facebook event if you are in the area. If not, you can search out. There's more and more natural practitioners than there were just a year or two ago. So they're there. And then stool. A stool sample, because when I talked about stress, I didn't talk about if you have an underlying infection, or if you have sometimes we have imbalances in our gut. We have some imbalances that might cause infection that we don't even know are there, or yeast overgrowth. And so a stool sample can tell you if there is an infection too, because those underlying issues, if you're doing all the right things, can increase stress on the body. So stool is really a good, when I was going through school, they said that a stool sample should be at every physical, because your stool tells you so much. I know it's gross, but like it should be done. So that's another thing that you can look into as well. You can order those online and then just make sure you have a practitioner that can read that too. So this is just food for thought, all right? Now, supporting your body. These are the things that I talked about, that when we don't have food that is grown properly, or maybe we're not getting the proper nutrition through our food, right? You need to support your body. And so here are my 4 things for hormone support, my 4 supplements that I love and use every single day. And I know, Sarah, you probably use these as well. Love them. So Super B, like I said, when you're on any kind of medications or birth control, or if you are under copious amounts of stress, your B vitamins get depleted rapidly. And so we need B vitamins for hormone conversions. We need them for mood support. And so Super B is a super complex of all B vitamins, the whole food supplement, and it's also infused with nutmeg and essential oil. And when your supplements are infused with essential oils, there have been studies that it allows more absorption. So it's more bioavailable for your body to actually use. And the nutmeg helps thyroid and adrenals. Okay. So when I have women start this, I always say start with a half a tablet. The recommended dose is 2 tablets a day. But because it does really increase detoxification, supports liver detox, supports estrogen metabolism, if you go through detox too fast, if your body is, sensitive, you don't want to go through detox too fast. So half a tablet. And then you can increase, and do this in the morning because it's going to give you energy. So don't take it at like 4 o'clock in the afternoon, or you might not be able to sleep. Take it in the morning. Latest is probably lunch. Okay, so you can even do a half a tablet in the morning and half a tablet at lunch, and see how your body responds. I always say do 1 supplement at a time. See how your body responds so you know what it's responding to. EndoFlex essential oil is for the endocrine system. I take this oil and I apply it to my thyroid and to my adrenal glands every single day, just to help those areas thrive. Okay. I just find that I have a better mood. I have more energy when I use that oil. I do dilute it. So I do 50% in a roller bottle and the rest with a carrier oil, so half and half. Okay. Progestins Plus is a serum that is made with wild yam extract. Wild yam extract has a little bit of progesterone in it. It's a natural progesterone that resonates with your body, allows your body to create its own progesterone. It has oils like lavender and cedarwood and frankincense, and it's really calming. So I love to use that at night. So it can naturally make you feel happier. It naturally makes your cycle more pleasant. It makes your mood more pleasant when you are around people. This is a game changer if you have cycle issues. So I will put this on my forearm, just 2 drops. It's 2 to 4 drops. At nighttime, that's when I like to use it. And I use EndoFlex in the morning. That is my routine. But Progestins Plus is incredible. I know so many women that have used that and have had like incredible changes with their mood, their outlook, and they don't have the cramping anymore, right? So it just really regulates. Mineral Essence is a complete mineral supplement. I add this to my Ningxia Red. Minerals are the building blocks of your cells, of your DNA. And so this, you need all those minerals to make sure that I've just noticed that my breast tenderness has gone down when I use my minerals. So really adding in those key minerals for, again, hormone conversions, cell replication. So that is my 4 key supplements and oils that I would suggest start with one, and then you can add and build to it, right? And then, of course, my last thing is start swapping. If you have not started swapping already, start swapping out those cleaners in your home, the things that you put in your diffuser. If you're like, swap out the candles and put things in a diffuser, put oils in a diffuser. But Thieves is an incredible line that you can start swapping out with. I started with the Thieves cleaner. I mean, we clean everything with Thieves. Thieves laundry soap, Thieves dish soap. We put Thieves in the diffuser with some orange essential oil, especially this time. Tomorrow was September 1st, and it smells like pumpkin spice in my house. It smells like Christmas when I have Thieves and, orange going. So swapping out what you would normally purchase at the store to clean your toilets with, to clean your counters with, to clean your dishes with, you can do it all with Thieves. And Thieves is a blend of oils that is known to help purify the air, really have a powerful effect on germs in the air as well, germs on things. So that is one area that we have just kind of gone chemical free with. And I had a friend of mine, she reached out to me and she's like, hey, she started using oil. She's like, I noticed this month I didn't have any lumps in my breast. Is it because I'm swapping things out? And I was like, probably. I would suggest that probably that's what it is. So those are my recommendations. I mean, Young Living is an incredible company. We're not just oils. We are an entire wellness company. We have makeup, clean makeup. And if you can see here, my little girl, she is a makeup fanatic. She's not using the stuff that I used to use, Wet n Wild, right? There, Paul. Wet n Wild, all those sparkly makeups and lotions. She gets to put makeup on with Mama every single morning if we're not going anywhere. Lipstick from Young Living, lip gloss, blush, eyeshadow. And I know it's not harming her. She's having fun as a little girl experimenting with makeup, and it's not going to harm her. When my little girls are brushing their teeth, they're using Thieves. When they're helping me clean, they're using Thieves. And so it has just allowed me to just know what's coming through the door and know that they can be just like Mom. They're not going to learn to use the Clorox, and those toilet cleaners that I grew up with. We know better now, right? And they go to Mammal's house now, and my mom knows better now. She's swapped out, her cleaners, and that is a beautiful thing. We can change the future generation, and we can change our parents' generation too. We can help them as well. So I'm going to stop sharing here and take any questions because it is kind of getting late.
Yeah, we do have a few questions, Sarah.
Okay, so you can connect with me on social media if you want to learn more, but I talk a lot about this on my Instagram page and Facebook page. So I'm going to stop sharing and take some questions.
Absolutely. So I'm just going to read some that I know that popped up.
Okay.
So one question was, what about when you are forced to have menopause with a hysterectomy and you don't have anything left? Being forced is so difficult to regulate and to feel normal again. So any insight that you can help there?
If you still have your ovaries, so I've heard it put it this way. You still have your ovaries, right? So you're still producing hormones. But if you haven't taken everything, if everything is gone, then that, you can still support with EndoFlex because you still have the rest of your endocrine system. B vitamins, okay? All those things that I talked about, all those supplements that I shared. And that's something we can talk one-on-one with, but food is king, okay? Making sure your nutrition is on point. And then again, those stuff, EndoFlex and Super B, start there.
Thank you.
Yep.
And then another question was, is there a special test to ask for because they only do certain testings when you go to get blood tests done.
Yes. Yes, they will just take a thyroid panel. They won't test. There's multiple things that you can get tested. And that's something I can talk with you one-on-one, because that I feel is a as per needed, because you can check your vitamin D levels, you can check your magnesium levels, your B levels as well, to see where you need support in supplementation as well. So yes, I do consults. They're 20-minute consults. You can contact me and we can set something up. I do them on Tuesdays. So message me and we can set something up. Thank you, Sarah.
Mm-hmm. And I'm just putting Sarah's contact. Her page is Well Folk Revival, and that's both on Instagram and also on Facebook. Mm-hmm. And mine is Mindful Oil Moments. So you're welcome to contact either of us at any time. And next week when Melinda is on, she is going to be focused on yoga, but it's going to be for sleep and stress. So it's literally to like before bedtime yoga. So to add into your routine. It's not going to be like, you know, some fancy fitness yoga. This is like chill out and pass out yoga. So anyone who wants to chill out and pass out, come on over and hang out with us. And I will post that event tomorrow within this current event that's on Facebook. In addition, that will also be on my business page, which is Mindful Oil Moments, and also Sarah's business page, which is Well Folk Revival.
Awesome. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you all for joining. And I know it was a lot of information, but seriously, this is the foundation. You have the foundation now. Choose one of those areas that I talked about and work on that. Contact me and I would love to set up something to help you move forward to start getting answers. It was so good to have you all on here. Thank you all for joining and taking that next step so that you can vibe and thrive with those around you and with yourself. Have an amazing evening, ladies. Thank you so much, Sarah, for joining too.
Thank you. Good night, everybody.
All right.